Hello, my name is Ashley LAPIER, and joining me today on Beyond the Bench is James W. Manolis, and he is running for Lawrence County Court of Common Pleas Judge. Thank you for joining us today, James.
Thank you for having me.
So, I wanted to ask you a couple questions about your background, your personal background. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm a lifelong resident of Lawrence County. I was born on the south side of Newcastle to two first-generation American parents. Their names were Bill and Rose Manolis. I grew up in Neshannock Township. I have four brothers, I'm sorry, there's five of us, five boys, John, Tom, Nick, and Steve. I graduated from Neshannock High School, and then I went on to college at the University of Pittsburgh, and then I graduated from the University of Dayton School of Law. I am married to my high school sweetheart. Her name's Rosemary, and we've been married for about 40 years, a little over 40 years. After graduating from law school, I lived in the city of Newcastle. My wife and I, we raised our children there. And then after they were old enough to move out of the house, my wife and I moved back to Neshannock Township, where we've been for the last 7 years. We have three children. My oldest child, Bill, is an attorney here in our office. I've had the pleasure of working with him for the last 12 years. My second child, Nick, lives in Philadelphia, and he's a student at Temple University. He's working on his doctorate. And my daughter, Macy, our youngest, is also a lawyer, and she is a law clerk for a Pennsylvania Supreme Court justice. And we also have four grandchildren who we spend quite a bit of time with.
It sounds like a really happy family and
It
quite
sure
a
is.
large one.
Yes.
So can you tell us what the voters need to know about the judicial race currently?
Sure. Well, we have four common pleas court judges here in Lawrence County, and three of them will have been retired by the end of the year. Two judges are retiring because they've reached the mandatory age of 75, and the third judge, who's retiring, is not running for retention. So the voters have the responsibility of electing three new judges to the bench. And in my opinion, this is probably one of the most important races, at least on a local level, that we've had in Lawrence County in my lifetime. These are very important positions. And there are 7 candidates for the 3 positions, so the voters need to do their homework to determine who the most qualified candidates are. All the candidates will run on both tickets, and the reason for that is that it's a nonpartisan race. This is not a political election where you're electing a state representative or some other legislative it's not a legislative race where policy's made. So you can vote for either any candidate, whether you're Republican or Democrat, and then the top 3 selected in each party ticket will go on to the general election in November. So the point is, the voters have homework to do to determine who the most qualified candidates are.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's ask you, going on with this, how would you distinguish yourself from other candidates exactly?
Well, I distinguish myself based on my experience of the law, my experience in the law, my knowledge of the law, and my commitment to the profession. Basically, I've been practicing law in Lawrence County for 38 years. I have a very broad general practice, so I've done just about everything that a lawyer can do who has a general practice: property and business disputes, personal injury, divorce, custody, support, criminal law, municipal law, estate planning and administration. I've been in court for hundreds of proceedings over the last 38 years and trials in both civil and criminal court before common pleas court judges and juries in Lawrence County, Beaver County, Mercer County, Butler County, and Beaver County, and once in a while Allegheny County. I also handle civil and criminal appeals to the appellate courts, and in fact I have 24 cases that are actually in the law books for lawyers to refer to in practicing law, and those cases involve appellate court cases in the Commonwealth Court and the Superior Court of Pennsylvania, which are our intermediate courts, the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, as well as the Common Pleas Courts and the federal courts. I am also well versed in municipal law. I was the solicitor of the city of Newcastle for a period of 8 years. I was the solicitor for the borough of Seven Fields for 5 years, and I currently serve as the solicitor of the Lawrence Hickory Municipal Authority. So I have a broad practice and broad experience with municipal law as well. I also am a member of the American and Pennsylvania Bar Associations, the Association of Trial Lawyers of America, the Western Pennsylvania Trial Lawyers Association, and our local bar association, the Lawrence County Bar Association. I've been the treasurer and a member of the executive committee of the Lawrence County Bar Association for 37 years. I'm also the opinion editor for the Law Journal, which is our legal publication in Lawrence County, the Lawrence Law Journal. And as the opinion editor, I read hundreds of cases every year that the Common Pleas Court judges have issued, and I determine which cases have some value to the other lawyers to be aware of. And if I choose to publish them based on predetermined criteria, I summarize the cases and they're printed in the Lawrence Law Journal for other lawyers to have the benefit of. And over the 37 years, I've published about 165 cases. Now, what I've described for the Bar Association, I don't get paid for. This is a commitment to the legal profession. I was also selected by former President Judge Ralph Pratt to serve on the Civil Rules Committee back in 2003. And the committee promulgated the local rules of court, civil rules of court that are followed today, and provide the procedure that's to be utilized by attorneys in working their way through the court system. In terms of my community service, I am a former member of the Newcastle Christian Academy Board of Directors, and I currently serve on the Lawrence County Humane Society Board of Directors and the Lawrence County Association for Responsible Care. So I think my professional experience, my commitment to the profession and the community qualifies me to serve as a Common Pleas Court judge and serve the community well.
Absolutely. So when we talk to our voters right now, if you're directly speaking with them, what do you believe that they need to focus on when deciding who to vote for this election?
Okay, well, in Pennsylvania, a Court of Common Pleas candidate is qualified if he or she is an attorney in good standing and they live in the county in which they're running for office. But I think the voters need to recognize that the most important matters to consider are the candidate's experience, knowledge of the law, commitment to the profession, and their integrity. Everything else is secondary. So you've got to look at what the candidates actually have to offer that's important for the position and discount most everything else as your main focus. And, obviously everything else other than what I've outlined is secondary. And it's, a consideration, but it should not be the focus that the voter has in deciding which candidates are better suited for the position. Now, right now we have judges on the bench who have practiced law and been on the bench for 40 years or more. So we have, well-qualified judges on the bench, and we need to replace those judges with equally able judges, and they've got to have a high level of competence so that we can continue to enjoy the well-qualified bench that we have today. So, it's a very important election, and the voters need to do their homework to make the right decision.
Absolutely, I agree with you. What do you see as the biggest legal challenges facing Lawrence County currently?
Mm-hmm. Well, I interpret that question to mean two things. You know, what is the problem in Lawrence County that the courts need to deal with that is most significant? And I think in our community, unfortunately, most of the crimes that are committed and much of the domestic violence and quite frankly some of the other disputes that the courts deal with are related to drugs or mental illness, which are two, you know, very serious issues in our community, and account for, as I said, most of the cases that work their ways through the court, and unfortunately, a lot of the criminal cases. So, I think those issues need to be addressed in part by the court. I mean, the court only has so much control over how individuals with those problems can be processed through the system. So I think that, from a personal standpoint, I think that's an important thing. Secondly, I think the courts are basically faced with the same challenges that they've been faced with for forever, quite frankly, and that's moving challenging cases and the number of cases through the system in a way that serves the community well. And the current judges have done an admirable job doing that. You know, there's a high volume of cases, and there's a lot of complexity to many of these cases. So you've got to give reflective thought to these cases and make sure they're developed well enough so that you can make an intelligent, fair decision for those who are involved. So I think the best way to address that is, again, to replace the retiring judges with equally hardworking and experienced candidates, you know, to meet the challenge and make sure our courts don't take a step backwards.
Excellent, excellent. What case or legal issue in your career has had the biggest impact on how you view justice? And how would that experience shape your decision as a judge?
I think the best way to explain that from my standpoint is that I don't really have one case or two cases that have defined me in that regard. I think as a lawyer, when you've practiced for 38 years and been involved with the lives of literally thousands of people, you gain your insight from those experiences. And I've gained a lot of experience from, you know, my relationship with my clients, and I think those are the things that are going to drive me in the way that you've posed the question.
Excellent. One more question. What is one thing that you hope to accomplish as a judge that would make a lasting impact on Lawrence County?
Well, I think the best thing that I can do and what I hope to accomplish is to serve the term that I might enjoy if I'm elected, which would be over 10 years, quite frankly, because you serve a 10-year term, but if your birthday falls on a certain date during the year, you get to complete that year, even though you're beyond the mandatory retirement age. So I'll serve, I think, 10 years and 10 months, and then after that I can serve as a senior judge if I choose to do that. But I think what I can accomplish, or I hope to accomplish as a judge during my tenure that would have lasting impact on the community, is to, you know, base my decisions on the facts and the law, provide people who are in the court system and having their cases decided by a judge the opportunity to, you know, develop their case, present their testimony, say their piece, treat the lawyers with respect, and make decisions without regard to personal relationships, political bias, or outside influence, and be known to have served our community well.
James Manolis, thank you so very much for joining us today. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.
I typically allow our guests to approach our audience with any last-minute message that they would like to share. Is there anything you'd like to say?
I would. As I indicated, I can't stress this enough, this is an extremely important election. The voters of Lawrence County are going to select 3 candidates from 7 candidates to serve as judges of the Court of Common Pleas. And it's extremely important that you do your homework, you study each candidate, focus on experience, knowledge of the law, commitment to the profession, and integrity. That should be your primary focus. And then secondarily, you can look at everything else the candidates have to offer. And I'm confident that if you do that, we will have the three best candidates serving as judges on the Court of Common Pleas of Lawrence County, Pennsylvania. And finally, don't forget to vote. Thank you.
Thank you again, James. You're joining us with Beyond the Bench, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.